Have you ever wondered if you might have small habits, seemingly harmless, that are quietly pushing your loved ones away without you even realizing it? Aging brings us wisdom, precious stories, and a deeply experienced soul. But along with that, sometimes there are also hidden corners, habits that we ourselves no longer even notice. These habits, though very small, have the power to change how others feel about us, from admiration and affection to hesitation, distance, and sadness. The heartbreaking reality is, very few people have the courage to tell you. They're afraid of hurting you, so they choose silence. They choose to gradually step back. And that is exactly what I don't want you to experience. In this video, we will shine a light on 12 seemingly trivial habits, but in truth, they directly impact the respect, warmth, and relationships you have with the world around you. The wonderful thing is, most of these habits, once recognized early, can be completely changed, not to please others, but to protect the dignity, charm, and precious presence you have built throughout your entire life. Let's begin this delicate journey with an open heart and a courageous spirit. And if throughout the video you find these insights meaningful to you, please don't forget to leave a comment below. I would truly love to hear your thoughts. Now, let's begin with the very first sign. I still remember Mrs. Margaret, 79 years old, living in a small town in Minnesota. Throughout her life, she was always meticulous. Her silver hair neatly brushed, her modest dress carefully chosen, her shoes spotless. Every time people met her, they could feel the brightness and pride she carried in the way she presented herself. But one winter day 2 years ago, when I visited with a few old friends, I suddenly noticed a change. Her hair was slightly messy, as if it hadn't been brushed yet, and her old sweater showed a few small stains on the sleeves. She still smiled kindly, still offered cookies, just like always, but the atmosphere had shifted. No one said anything, no one wanted to hurt her feelings, but I noticed that everyone sat a little farther away, and the little grandchildren, instead of rushing into her arms as they once did, simply waved from a distance. They didn't love her any less, but unconsciously, people always respond to the subtle messages others send. A neatly brushed hairstyle, a tidy outfit. It's not merely about appearance, it's a way of quietly telling the world, I am still here, I still love and care for myself, I am still worthy of respect. If you realize that sometimes you too have neglected caring for yourself, don't be discouraged. The wonderful thing is that you can always start again with just one small habit beginning tomorrow morning. Share your commitment by commenting, I choose to love myself, because you are not alone on this journey. And then there's another sign that silently creates distance, not from how we look, but from what we let slip out during unguarded moments. The next story will make this even clearer for you. Sign 2, when words no longer pass through the filter of kindness. George Dominion was 74 years old, from Tennessee, was always the one with a funny story to tell at every gathering. People used to adore him for his wit and quick thinking, but lately the atmosphere around him has started to shift. At his granddaughter's birthday party, when the young girl proudly showed off her newly dyed green hair, George blurted out, "You look just like a parrot," and burst into laughter. Not everyone laughed along. The girl lowered her head, her mother remained silent, and the lively mood of the party seemed to fade. George didn't mean to hurt anyone, but he didn't realize that even unintentional words can leave silent wounds, especially when they come from someone you love. As we grow older, the line between speaking plainly and speaking without thinking becomes easier to blur. People tend to offer less feedback, partly out of respect, partly out of fear of hurting your feelings, but distance still quietly grows. To avoid ending up in a situation like George's, try pausing for a moment before making a comment. Ask yourself, if someone I love hears this, will it warm their heart with a smile, or will it make them lower their head in sadness? A gentle word has the power to warm the heart, while a sharp one can quietly push loved ones away without you even realizing it. Have you ever witnessed such a moment within your own family? Share your story in the comments, because sometimes your small story could be a valuable lesson for someone else. And if what I'm sharing is sparking a bit of reflection in you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so we can continue walking together through more healing stories. There's another sign, one that few people think about, but it shows up clearly in the eyes of those around us. It's how we choose our clothing each day. Let's move forward. Sign 3. When clothing is no longer your companion, but a burden to your image. Margaret, 76 years old, from Ohio, always loved simplicity. For many years, she stuck to a few beige dresses, a pair of faded sneakers, and an old knitted hat from when her son was still in college. Margaret didn't pay much attention. Comfort was what mattered most to her. But then, one day, while attending her grandchild's graduation ceremony, Margaret noticed the uncomfortable glances people gave her. No one said anything, no one criticized, but through those fleeting looks, she could clearly feel one thing. Her image no longer sent a message of self-respect as it once did. The truth is, this story is very common. No one expects you to chase fashion trends or buy expensive brands. But wearing clothes that fit well, are clean, and suit your current figure is your way of telling the world, I am still here, and I value myself. A well-fitted light blue shirt, a pair of pants that flatter your shape, a clean pair of shoes, just small details, yet they completely transform how others look at you, from pity to admiration. So next time you stand in front of your closet, don't just ask, does this still fit? Ask yourself, does this outfit still represent who I am today? Because your image isn't just a layer of fabric. It's the continuation of your values, your self-respect, and the story you wish to tell the world each day. Do you have a favorite piece of clothing that has been with you for many years, but now you feel it might be time for a change? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to follow the channel so we can continue this journey together, keeping our confidence, our dignity, and the profound beauty that grows even stronger as we step into our 60s and beyond. Now, let's explore another habit, one that can quietly make our relationships more fragile, the way we converse with others. Sign 4. When you unintentionally take over conversations and push others away. Harold, 74 years old, living in the suburbs of Pennsylvania, was once a talented engineer. He took great pride in the stories he had to tell, from major projects to valuable life lessons. Every time his children, grandchildren, or friends visited, Harold couldn't wait to share his experiences. But gradually, he noticed that conversations became shorter. The grandchildren would make excuses to leave early. Friends stopped calling as often. Harold puzzled over it until one day his youngest grandchild blurted out, "Grandpa, sometimes I want to tell you about school, but you always start talking about the old days, and I can't get a word in." That comment was like a wake-up call. Harold realized that it wasn't because people didn't love him. It was because he had forgotten that communication is a two-way street. When we constantly share without leaving space for others to speak, they start to feel left out, even in the very conversation they're having with us. And sadly, very few people are brave enough to offer direct feedback to an elder. So how can you fix it? A simple tip. In every conversation, try to spend twice as much time listening as you do speaking. When someone shares something, instead of jumping in with your own story, ask, "And then what happened?" Or simply smile and nod to encourage them. When you become someone who listens deeply, you not only maintain connections, you become a safe and welcoming place that people naturally want to return to. Have you ever noticed yourself being a bit over-enthusiastic in conversations lately? If so, share your experience in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue exploring these small but powerful secrets to keeping loving connections strong at every stage of life. Coming up next, let's dive into another subtle yet extremely common sign, the way we sometimes complain about the younger generation without realizing the hidden consequences. Sign 5. Complaining about today's youth. Mary, 76 years old, living in Kansas, loved her family dearly and often met up with her grandchildren. But she had a small habit she didn't realize. Whenever she saw her grandchildren using their phones or dressing differently, Mary would immediately lament. "Back in my day, young people were more polite and hardworking." At first, the grandchildren would give awkward smiles. But gradually, the gatherings became less frequent. One day, her youngest granddaughter whispered to her mother, "I really love Grandma, but every time I see her, I feel like I'm being criticized. I don't even want to share anything anymore." Hearing this made Mary very sad. She realized that complaints aren't harmless comparisons. They're like invisible walls that separate generations. Instead of judging, if we simply asked, Can you tell Grandma what excites you most about the world today? We would be building a bridge between generations. Maybe it's time we listen more and judge less. Don't you agree? If you do, comment, "I will listen more" below the video. Song 6, Ignoring Modern Etiquette. Robert, 79 years old, living in Florida, used to be very confident about his manners. But over time, social norms have evolved. Robert had the habit of speaking loudly on the phone in public or playing videos without headphones while waiting at the doctor's office. He didn't think it was an issue. But one day, he overheard a young woman whisper to her friend, "Why are older people so inconsiderate?" Robert froze. He never intended to disturb anyone. And that's the important part. Even small lapses in awareness, though unintentional, affect how others perceive us. Today, modern etiquette calls for more subtlety, speaking softly in public, wearing headphones when watching videos, being mindful of personal space. With just a few adjustments, we not only earn more respect, but also show that we're still in tune with the rhythm of the modern world. Have you ever felt embarrassed in situations like this? Share your thoughts with us. Sign 7. Talking too much about illnesses. Frank, 80 years old, was very friendly and loved to chat, but recently every conversation seemed to revolve around his heart condition, blood pressure medication, or upcoming medical appointments. At first, friends listened attentively and sympathetically, but eventually the meetups grew fewer. Frank felt sad, thinking, "I'm just speaking honestly." The truth is, while people do care about your health, when it becomes the sole topic of conversation, it creates an imbalance. Listeners start to feel weighed down and helpless. The solution isn't to hide your struggles, but to share just enough and also make space for joyful topics, things that make you happy. Your life is not defined by illness alone. You have so much more value to offer, and people need to see that light in you. Sign 8. Clinging to outdated beliefs. Alice, 77 years old, was proud of the life principles she had forged over the years. But over time, whenever her grandchildren talked about changes in society, new careers, different life choices, Alice would immediately shake her head. That's not right. Gradually, the grandchildren shared less with her. They didn't argue, they just grew silent. The painful truth is that Alice believed she was protecting what was right, but in reality, she was building walls of isolation. A little openness, a simple question like, "Can you explain that to me so I can understand better?" could open a whole new world of dialogue. Older adults don't lose their dignity by listening. On the contrary, they are even more cherished for such rare humility. 9. Moving without considering shared spaces. Paul, 75 years old, went grocery shopping with his granddaughter. While searching for an item, he stopped in the middle of the aisle, his cart blocking the way. His granddaughter gently reminded him, "Grandpa, let's move a little to the side." Only then did Paul notice the irritated glances around him. No one said anything, but everyone felt it. These small lapses in awareness, though unintentional, cause inconvenience. Respecting shared spaces is not just about politeness. It shows that we are still connected, still aware of the world around us. Sign 10. Telling outdated jokes. Sonia, 78 years old, always thought that her old jokes were just harmless fun. But at a gathering, when she joked about gender roles and was met with silence, she realized she had unintentionally touched on sensitive topics in today's society. An old joke, a just for fun comment, if not handled carefully, can hurt others. The fix is simple. Let your humor point toward kindness and self-awareness, not outdated division. When you laugh with others, not at them, you become even more beautiful in their eyes. Section 11. Pretending to be helpless when you're not. Thomas, 79 years old, often asked his children and grandchildren for help with small tasks he was perfectly capable of handling, carrying light grocery bags, turning on a new phone, cooking a simple meal. At first, the family helped joyfully, but gradually they started feeling trapped in a constant caregiving role, and love, once pure, became mixed with exhaustion. The truth is, people cherish you more when they see you still making an effort and staying active. Ask for help only when truly necessary. Every small thing you can still do for yourself is a powerful statement that you are still independent and full of value. Sign 12. Insisting on being right at all costs. Eleanor, 81 years old, was smart and experienced. But recently, in every discussion, she felt the need to prove her point, even over the smallest matters. At first, people yielded out of respect, but gradually, genuine conversations disappeared, replaced by hollow nods. When you prioritize being right over understanding and being understood, you unknowingly isolate yourself. A simple phrase like, "Maybe I don't know everything, tell me more," could open up new bonds, making you both respectable and approachable. You see, these small habits quietly and subtly change the way others see and feel about us. But the wonderful thing is, if we recognize them early, we can absolutely make adjustments, not to please others, but to live more beautifully for ourselves, to build stronger connections, and to feel lighter and warmer inside with each passing day. Have you noticed any of these habits quietly forming within yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them. If you found this content meaningful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so we can continue walking together on the journey of living gracefully at every age. See you in the next video, where we'll explore more small secrets that have the power to transform the entire journey of aging.